All right. Happy Monday, EXPs and family and friends. Thank you guys for joining us for this very special pop-up discussion. As always, you guys know I do things off the whim. I really don't plan a lot of these pop-ups. And I love the fact that I do it this way because it's more authentic. It is not pre-scripted. And it also gives you the opportunity to talk to experiential marketing professionals or just individuals and hear their stories. Before we got on, Bree was asking me, are there any questions? Is there anything I need to be, mindful of? And I told her, these pop-up discussions are just that, they're pop-ups. So we are gonna be honest, we are gonna be real. You're gonna get a chance to tell your story and talk about any and everything you want, with the exception of using profanity and any derogatory comments. But aside from that, I want to go ahead and start the conversation off with a couple house rules. House rules, excuse me. Of course, no profanity, no derogatory comments. Family, friends, EXPs, feel free to drop your questions in the comments for Bree. She's going to be open and honest about her journey and her story. And also, if you guys have any comments, if you know Bree, go ahead and shout her out. Say, hey, any events that you have worked with her, any awesome experiences that you've had, definitely shed light on that in the comments. Also, let us know where you guys are checking in from, what city you guys are based in, any events that you previously executed this past weekend, or how much experience you have working in the experiential marketing industry. Or if you're just here for moral support for Bree, let us know that as well. All right. So without further ado, I just want to wish you guys a great start to the week. It is Monday. So we are going to be starting off on a great note, and none other than Ms. Brey Bolden is going to be discussing her journey as an EXP and all things with regards to how to pivot during this time. So Bree, go ahead and let everybody know, for those who may not know you, uh, give them some background on your story and how you began in the experiential marketing industry.
Thank you so much, Jay. Thanks for having me first and foremost. I have been in the industry. Honestly, I started out when I was about 12 years old. My mom used to pay me under the table. She worked at Kmart. Back when Kmart was popping. And she was a manager at Kmart. And just for like $10 an hour, she would have me like dress up in different costumes depending on the season. And then I would hold up signs, like a sign spinner on the side of the road. And it'd be like 12, 13 years old, making $10 an hour back when I think minimum wage was like almost $7. I felt like I was doing that. But I've always been an outgoing person. I love talking to people. So I did that for about a year, on and off, and, went to school, high school. And after college is when I really started working as an EXP professionally. I never heard about it in college. I did always wonder, when I went to football games, like, who are these people out here handing out promotional items? Like, they look like they're having so much fun. But when I moved from Tallahassee to Jacksonville, Florida. And when I moved there, I ended up getting a part-time job as a brand ambassador, my first legit brand ambassador job. And I quickly actually, my manager was resigning. So I guess I was hired to be her replacement without knowing. So I ended up taking her, not taking her position, but she resigned. So I was the next one in line.
What happened?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. And then, so that's where I got most of my experience. And then it's kind of like they kind of threw me in the swim with the sharks. But I stayed afloat, and I ended up being like the program manager over other brand ambassadors who were doing brand ambassador work longer than I. But I grew the program. I was very successful at it. However, at the end of my first year or second year, I did a evaluation to show where I brought the program, basically asking for more money. They didn't want to give it to me. And then I was like, okay, let me do some more research. And I found out that what I was making was nowhere near what I could have been making. So I decided to leave that position. And without a job in line, I just hit the road running. I started hustling Craigslist, Indeed. I didn't learn about Facebook, about different brand ambassador pages until about maybe 6-7 months later. But once I got into all the groups, it was done and over with. Then, yeah, I've been working.
And how long ago was that again?
That was about 7 years, 7, 8 years.
Okay, so 7 years ago, and you're based in
Orlando now.
Orlando. So how has the market changed for working as a EXP, especially at the brand ambassador level? How has it evolved within the past 7 years from what you've seen?
From what I've seen, well, I don't see as many posts on Craigslist. Way back when I first started, that's mainly the spot where you would find them. Then it would have been Indeed, but Indeed, it was kind of hard to sort through and find the ones that were like specific brand ambassador jobs. But once I got into the Facebook groups, wow, my old supervisor is actually calling me. Is that me with the feed? I don't know.
Yeah.
It is me. I don't know where it's coming from.
There it go, right there. Say it now.
Okay. So, but yeah, once I got into the groups, I saw more opportunities, and then it seems like once you sign up for these agencies, of course, and you receive those notifications, as soon as jobs are posted, you can apply right then and there. But for the most part, I would say the rates have evolved a lot, up and down. The job titles, you kind of do a little bit more now than you did back then, in my opinion. Just my experience. But finding work is not as hard as it used to be.
Okay. And from you evolving and becoming a brand ambassador, what other positions have you worked in that you enjoy excelling in, and that you still do brand ambassador work, but what other positions do you enjoy and you thrive in outside of just working as a brand ambassador?
You mean like different types of brand ambassador?
Like team lead or market manager? Like, how have you been able to evolve and pivot into those positions?
So once you start off as a team lead and you apply, just continue to apply for that position, depending on different programs, it's easier for you to book those managerial positions because one, you already had the experience. Two, you know how to better apply for those positions as to what they're looking for. And three, the pay rate's better. Just being honest. But I would say working as a tour team lead for Walmart Go a while back, grand openings, traveling all through Florida, Georgia, even Tennessee. That was an awesome position. It was so much fun. I basically had all of my family working for me or with me. When I say for me, I have family working with me, and I was able to build my team and sometimes have the same team travel from city to city. So not only was I getting that new experience, they were getting it too, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it. I also was the market manager for Uber Eats I want to say in 2019, around the holiday season. And they flew me up to North Carolina for training. Like being flown out, it's just a different feeling, you know. But that ongoing work and being able to excel in a specific market, so that way you're able to see, okay, what I'm putting out is what I'm getting back. I can see it in all my numbers. I really enjoyed that. And this past year, I ended up working as a merchandiser, which was completely different for me. I was kind of learning as I was going in the position, and more duties were placed on me. But that wasn't more. I was hired initially as a brand ambassador, and then it kind of went into a like sales merchandising position. Sometimes when you're just good at stuff and you just put your all into it, you end up increasing your rankings and responsibilities.
And that is true. And that leads me to my next question for you. What skills do you feel like individuals need to possess or obtain in order to move into those different positions? Because you talked about how you started as a brand ambassador and then you were promoted to a lead or to a management role. What skills do you feel that you have, and like I said, that individuals need to incorporate as an EXP in order to be able to obtain those lead or those managerial positions? Basically what sets you apart? Like, what sets you apart from just working as a BA for 3 to 5 years?
Going the extra mile. Like a lot of people just show up and they just want to do the bare minimum because they see it's a good rate. When in actuality, eyes are always on you. People want to see how you react, how you solve a problem before it even becomes a problem, like being proactive, or preventative, and just eyes are always watching. So you never know when a client is on site. Oftentimes I've been secret shop plenty of times, and I honestly think that's what did it. Being secret shop, because you never know who you're interacting with. You can be interacting with the CEO and not even know. You not even know what happened until like maybe a year later when you get reached out. Okay, hey, the program made its way around. Hey, we want you in a higher position because we saw as you were working as a brand ambassador, you were really taking initiative, and we want. Are you interested in this position? Heck yeah, I'm interested in this position. But just being able to go that extra mile, being as organized as possible. I'm not the most organized person, but I do my very best to stay organized. So everything goes on my calendar. I have all of the reminders. I have everything laid out before I go out and work. And just in case, I have backups for everything. Even knowing people. So say you're a brand ambassador and they're like, somebody just canceled and the backup didn't show up. It's cool. I got 2 people that I know is available. Let me call them. And they come in and do a great job. They're like, wow, if she can call somebody on the whim and have someone that's like of high caliber that can work in that position, tell them who else she knows. And kind of a reflection of you and your work ethic. But definitely being organized and just going that extra mile, it'll take you far.
I cannot agree more. I have seen it with myself, just when I started out as a brand ambassador, taking the time to send a simple thank you to an account manager after, executing a program. It goes a long way because they remember you. And especially if you get high ratings or reviews from the client or any managers on site. But it helps because you're able to build a great rapport with that agency or that account manager. But oftentimes, account managers leave. So once your go-to account manager leaves, it's like you have to start over and build a new rapport with a new account manager. But always your work ethic is going to speak volumes. Being early for an event, I always preach that. And just making sure that you communicate, just something as simple as, hey, the manager at the store wants me to change positions. Where do you think I should go? Or, hey, the client is here. Is there anything that I need to convey to him or her, with regards to the program, when you're speaking to account manager? So effective communication, being on time, being professional, and being you. Don't sound too scripted. Be authentic, because they hired you because of your personality, and because of your ability to convey information in your own unique way. So I think that's also essential as well. And that's what makes, this industry so unique, is the fact that we're all different and we are a reflection of the consumers, right? So you have African American consumers, white consumers, you have Indian, you have Asian, you have Spanish, you have all types of consumers. So being able to bring a group of brand ambassadors, EXPs, tour managers all together that look different, but also can still adequately convey like brand messaging, is important. I cannot stress that enough.
It's funny that you mentioned like different races of people, different backgrounds of people that come. Like oftentimes I've been on site and some people said some offensive stuff. Like even if we were working together, like if it's distasteful, it's distasteful. I'm sorry, it is what it is, but it's gonna change how I see you. It's gonna make me think like, okay, next time if you're on my roster, if I'm managing you, or if they open it up to like, hey, bring somebody else on. I'm not gonna want you there. Like, if you're being disrespectful, if you're talking about people behind their back, drama, nobody wants that. People just want to go to work, have a good time. Even if there's someone, say you have a consumer who they don't speak your language, finding a way, finding someone else that can translate or opening up Google Translate just to solve the problem, like going the extra mile and just saying, I'm sorry, I don't know how to speak to you, and just sending them on their way. They're gonna remember that forever,
Mm-hmm.
You just never know who's watching. You never know. Like, it's just how you handle each and every situation that's brought to you. Like, I really
Mm-hmm.
that kind of helps you create your place in the industry.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of, dealing with drama on site, you brought that up, and it's like you said, we come to work as EXPs to do our job, to engage the consumers, to have a great experience with our peers, our fellow EXPs, and to go home. But oftentimes, you do have those EXPs out there that are a negative reflection on the industry in itself. They come to jobs, they're lazy, they're unprepared, they cause drama amongst each other. Agencies and account managers call it clustering, when you clustering on on event site. And they're always clustering, and they do the bare minimum just to get by. And as a manager, you got to be able to rectify those situations, but you got to set a tone initially, and you got to be honest with your staff and let them know what their roles and responsibilities are, what their expectations are while they're on site. And you can't be afraid to let people go.
Yep.
especially if it's going to do more harm than good over time on an event site, because what do they say? Like, one person can be negative and infect.
Oh, it spoils. I mean, it spoils. It spreads. It definitely spreads. I've had to let go family members working on site with me because they've gone through whatever they're going through. I always try, like, hey, let's talk first. Okay, hey, go take a 15, go take a 20. Reflect. Let me know if you want to come back, if you want to work through this or not. If not, sorry, but
Yeah.
it always happens. Is that really you? I don't know what's happening. There's nothing going on. But those people, like, people still talk about those people, like any industry, people are going to talk about each other. It is what it is. It's going to happen. But I think it's best not to talk about anyone. And if there's an issue, just approach that person. It's okay. It's all about your tonality, how you speak to them. Just be mindful not to offend them. And that's honestly, that was probably one of my biggest challenges in this industry, because I like to be liked. I'm not gonna lie, I like to be liked. And I feel like I'm a likable person. And sometimes, just because you're nice, a lot of people kind of want to walk over you or try you. They're like, look, sweetie, don't let the smile fool you. Do your work. If you don't have to like me. Just do your work. The client's here. Come on, get it together for me, please. If not for me, for yourself. But it's happened. I've gotten better, much better at communicating with people and just letting them know, hey, on behalf of the client, the job, can we do this differently? Oh, I have an example. So I was working on I don't want to say a specific program, but I was working a program. Actually, I'm still working the program. But it's just after the pandemic happened, not started. We were invited back to work again. And there was a manager, not in the program, but there was a manager at the location that I was working at, a field manager or something like that. I don't know. She's a field manager for the company, for the client we was working for. And she had a Trump mask on. Now everyone has their political views. That's cool, because even if it said Biden, I would have still approached her. But as a manager, as a field manager for the client at the specific store that I'm working at, that I'll be straight up, it was kind of sort of in the hood, the demographic were lower income people, and I could just tell as soon as I walked in, because I was there the day before, but as soon as I walked in, I'm like, okay, the vibe's a little different here. What's going on? Everybody's not as cheerful as they were yesterday. What's going on? Like, I'm trying to figure, I'm like looking around, like, what's going on? Hey, y'all, how y'all doing? What's going on? And then I see it. I saw her mask, and I see people just looking and talking about her, guests walking in and out. And I'm like, somebody has to say something. So I realized somebody went, and a manager that's underneath her went and they put on a Black Lives Matter mask. They were kind of being passive aggressive. I get it. I was like, I get it, but the problem is not being solved at the moment. So I went and I coached that person first because, you know, she and I had spoken, and you could tell she was bothered by it. And normally she never wore any kind of political mask. So I said, hey, if I go and speak to the manager, would you be willing to put on like a disposable mask, change your mask? And she said, yes, I would be willing to, but like I got so offended and she just doesn't care. So I was like, no. Hey, look, we're going to solve this problem. So she changed her mask first. I was scared. When I tell you my heart was racing, I was like, oh, I'm going to get fired. Lord, I need this program. I need this money. And I approached her. I was like, hey, I waited till she was by herself. I was like, hey, do you mind if I speak to you for a moment? She said, yeah. I was like, hey, how's your day going? How are you feeling today? I could tell she was frustrated. She was flustered. I don't know what she had going on. And I was like, well, I just want to, you know, bring something to your attention. I was like,
speak up a little bit.
I was like, quite a few customers and employees here are a little offended by your mask. Would you mind, you know, just for the brand, on behalf of the brand, would you mind wearing one of our disposable masks instead of the one that you have? She was like, oh my goodness, I thought it was flipped. And she went and she just flipped it. And I was like, okay, that's fine. You know, that's awesome. And when I tell you, almost immediately you've seen a change in the staff and the people who were in the store, like immediately, everyone was just like uplifted. Almost lost my job, but hey, problem solved.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to be in uncomfortable situations, but you kind of just gotta step up and do what you feel like is right and put the right way.
And that's an awesome example, because a lot of people would be afraid to approach her, or even wouldn't know how to effectively solve a situation where both parties are happy. So something like politics, we know politics can be a very touchy subject, especially in the height of our society now. So that was awesome that you were able to rectify that situation that way. And everybody was in agreement, which is good too. So let's talk about you being a single mother working in the industry. How long or how has that experience been for you? And what have you learned throughout, you know, your journey, you know, executing events? I know Alicia Bell is one single mom that comes to mind when I, you know, think of single mothers working in the industry. But there are so many, you know, juggling, Sabrina Abrams too, juggling, working as an EXP full-time, booking events, executing events, and then having kids or one child to go home to and work around their schedule. So how has that been for you?
It was tough. It's very tough, but thankfully though, like my son's father, you know, still in his life. We actually live together, and he works from home. I'm always on the road. So initially, when I found out I was having a little one, I wasn't ready. I don't know what it is what's causing the sound. I wonder if it's this thing. It was hard to get through the pregnancy initially. I think I was working for Snapchat at that time. You can hear me well? I was working for Snapchat at that time, and here I am, you know, I'm kind of hiding my pregnancy because I'm like, okay, I know it's against the law to let someone go because they're pregnant, but you just never know. So I was hiding my pregnancy, and then the program ended, and then people found out I was pregnant, but I still kept working events. I worked through my entire pregnancy. And I got another campaign, you know, so I'm just happy that I was already known in the industry and known for doing a great job. So that helped a lot. My son's father, being a graphic designer and working from home, that helped a lot too, because when the baby was first born and I went back to work, he was able to watch him during the day while I was at work, and then I'll come back and do my thug thizzle. But I did breastfeed, sorry if it's TMI, but I did breastfeed, and I feel like breastfeeding was one of the most difficult tasks to get done while still working in the industry. So here I am, like still traveling, working different events. I'm pumping in the car,
Mm.
break, well, in transit, because when it's time to do it, you just got to do it. Going to different events and then finding a private area where I can do that and finding ice to put it on and bring it, because every drop counts is difficult. But that was probably the hardest. And then just over time, as my son became more and more independent, it was a little easier because now he's in daycare. He just started daycare about 4 months ago. But still having to, fit my schedule, organize my schedule to like, okay, if he's going to daycare, I got to get up extra hour or two early to do whatever work I have to do in the morning. I learned to work when everyone's sleeping. Finding jobs, setting more notifications for whenever anything pop up, not waiting like, oh, okay, I'll apply for that when I get home. Let me set a reminder. No, it's now or never. Let me go use the restroom. Trying to find jobs and packing lunches. Whenever I would pack his lunch, I'm packing my lunch too, being out on the road. Even though I'm tired, like started drinking. I just started drinking coffee. I just started drinking coffee, but it's difficult. It started off difficult. It still is difficult. It's just not as hard as it was in the beginning. But definitely having my village, having my mom, having his grandparents, my boyfriend's grandparents, sometimes take him here and there. It definitely helps a lot. Still difficult, but it helps a lot.
So what advice do you have for single moms working in this industry who may be battling a tough time, who may feel like the world is on their shoulders, who may feel like, it's getting too much to bear, and I don't know how I'm gonna make it through the rest of this week with everything that's happened this year, with less opportunities being presented, but still having to find a way to make a way in spite of everything that's going on and having kids. What tools, what knowledge, what insight have you been able to implement over the years, which has allowed you to stay in this industry, right? As a working mom? Because a lot of EXPs would be like, hey, you know what? This industry doesn't suffice. The income isn't enough. I'm going to a regular 9 to 5. I got to go somewhere else where I could provide, for my child. Especially 2020, right? But what has been the motivation for you? What has been the things that has kept you grounded and kept you here in the industry, with a child in spite of?
To be real, having other mom friends. Having other mom friends, I would say honestly, just got me through it. Is getting me through it still. I have EXP friends. One that just popped up to mind is Sasha. Sasha Gonzalez. That's my shout out, baby. Hey, how you doing? But she has 2 little ones, and she's been in the industry. And we just like keep each other uplifted. Whenever I'm having bad days or she's having bad days, we vent to each other. And then as soon as jobs pop up, because she might be busy with the little ones, but I might be looking for jobs. So I'll send it to her, and it might be vice versa, and she'll send something to me. So definitely keeping a network of other moms that are EXPs as well. That definitely helps because you're not alone. None of us, we all may have different circumstances, but we're not alone. And it's okay to reach out and let someone know, like, girl, I'm just not feeling it today. Or say you're working a 3-day event, and each day is like 10 hours. And aside from having to work that 10-hour event for that day, you have to get up in the morning, you have to prepare stuff for the baby, the little ones. And then you have to come home after being tired and might still have to cook, food prep helps a lot. So say you got your event, my event starting Friday, make sure everything is squared away Wednesday and Thursday. Early on, find out what meals you can make that'll last through, or even freezer food. It's okay. Ain't no shame to your game as long as everybody's eating and alive. And affirmations. Affirmations help a lot too. A lot of times we don't want to let other people know that we're not feeling well or that we're just not motivated. So you can repeat affirmations. I have a little notebook actually that that I just go through whenever I'm not feeling well. I have different plaques on my wall in my house that says, "You look amazing, you're beautiful," or "You can do this," all around the house. That keeps me, just reminds me that, hey, this is your journey, this is your path. You're still here, you're still going, you can make it. All days aren't going to be like today. But
Mm-hmm.
being positive is hard sometimes, but sometimes you just got to be optimistic and know that whatever you're going through now, you're still going to overcome it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I like that. You just started a group for moms, EXP moms. That was
Yeah. Wait, did you start one, or you say we're about to?
I'm not there yet. I'm not mom status yet, but that would be good. I'm
It would
serious.
be. You're right. You're right. You know what? You're right. Y'all be on the lookout for it. It's coming. It's coming.
Yes, yes. And with all of that, 2020 was a crazy year for all of us.
Yes, I'm
So
right now.
write it down. It brought a lot of pivoting. It brought a lot of shifting for a lot of EXPs. It took a lot of EXPs out of the industry to say, you know what, I'm done with experiential marketing. Event shut down. This year I can't wait. I got to move on to bigger and better. And a lot of us said, you know what, I'm gonna start a new business opportunity. I'm gonna finish this certification. I'm gonna finish this degree, or I'm gonna launch my business. That I always wanted to do. Um, 2020 was one of those years. So I want to ask you, what did 2020 bring you with regards to the industry and personally, and what did you learn or take away from last year?
2020. Okay, so it gave me the opportunity to start a YouTube channel. Granted, I haven't posted any videos as of recently because I got so busy. But it's something that I always thought about. Starting a YouTube channel, giving insight, maybe some tips and tricks, just show what we do because it's fun. It's exciting. I love what we do. So I was able to start that. I was able to start a garden. I started a garden. I've been tending to it. I've taken so many certifications, event certifications, Red Cross. I was able to communicate more with agencies because they weren't as busy as they normally were. So I was able to foster a lot of relationships. I realized that I had a lot of EXV friends that weren't just work friends, they're real friends. And we got to hang out, talk. I also was able to, I won a lot of prizes because there was a lot of giveaways going on. So I won a lot of prizes because a lot of people were just, I guess, I understand with the pandemic going on and it being the beginning, people not knowing where the next check or when the next gig was going to be posted or anything like that. But I stayed online. I was online more than I had probably ever been. And with doing so, I was able to apply for some grants, apply for some, participate in some giveaways and win money. So it kept me busy, even though my jobs were canceled. It helped me, pivot and just find other things to keep me busy, to keep my mind, keep my mind from being idle. Did I answer? Yeah.
So with regards to the YouTube channel, so you went ahead and you started that. What was inspiration behind that? And go ahead and throw your plugs in there as well. I know you talked about wanting to assist brand ambassadors with that channel, but what tools or tips can they expect when they go to this channel?
So they can expect ways to prepare before an event or learning about different types of events that are out there. Mainly tips and tricks to kind of get you through the industry, to stay focused so you can stay within the industry. Something promote simple stuff. Well, some things that I would say probably simple, other people say simple, but other people are like, oh my goodness, I never thought about that. Something as simple as utilizing your calendar or utilizing friends and families to work with you. But it's more so I haven't gotten to the whole finances thing yet because I'm not an expert in finances. So sorry.
I got you.
Yeah. Yeah, but honestly, you kind of inspired me to do it because I found you. I'm like, who's out here doing something similar? So I started watching your videos. I got your book. I read your book. twice. Read your book twice. I followed you on everything. I was low-key creeping on you. I was stalking you a little bit. And hey, I'm not the only one that has this passion, and I wanted to show it in video format so other people can see that, hey, we out here, we still out here. There's people out here who really enjoy doing it, and you too can do this as well. So I'm hoping that it'll inspire more people in our industry, more EXPs, to also share their experiences and to get different conversations going on about different aspects of our industry.
And I think it's awesome that you started, because when I first started, there was no one for me to look to. So I'm like the blueprint. I'm starting from a blank canvas, and I just wanted to put out great content, valuable content, and things that people could use, in the industry and outside the industry. So it's always been my hope that someone would come behind me or alongside me and create videos and create stories and tell their story, because I always say everybody may not react or respond to the way that I deliver information. So it's always important that we have people like yourself and other EXPs who come out and create videos, because your perspective is going to be different than mine, right? The way you deliver the information is going to be different, and it may get across to a different group of people that I'm not able to connect with. So there's so much room in this industry, especially in this niche, what we're doing, for so many other people to come and create content and create valuable content. That's the key. Everybody can create content, but it has to be value, there for the individuals in our industry. And I love what you're doing, because they're short, quick hitters, they to the point, but you give valuable content and you give valuable advice and things that individuals in our industry need to adhere to or should be aware of, and they can respond, they can relate, and they can also say, you know what, I've experienced that before, or I know exactly what Brey's talking about, or you know what, I'm gonna remember that next time I go to an event site to make sure I'm prepared. I have A, B, C, and D. I saw your video, your TikTok, where you did Sierra, you had Level Up, and you had like a different, attire. That is important, those things, especially with our industry pivoting and evolving, in the next few months, new people are going to be entering the industry. So having these tips, having this insight is essential. And I just want to thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. Do it in your own unique, authentic way that speaks to you. And as always, I'm here to help you and assist you, especially on the finance tip. That's my realm. I went to school for that. I love talking money, but I also understand that there's different levels to it as well. So I commend you for doing it. It's a labor of love, because we're not getting paid for it. We're not getting paid for it. So this is a passion. You have to have a passion to stay consistent and do it. So I commend you for it. And you took it a step further with the Clubhouse.
Yeah, I'm trying. Like, seriously, I really, really love this industry. Some people say, okay, they found what they want to do for life. Like, I honestly feel like this not it for me. Like, I still want different avenues, of course, of income and learn and do different things. But I really, really love our industry, and there's just so much room for opportunity and growth. Imagine if more people come out that are EXPs, and they start sharing their experience more, using specific hashtags. More people will know about us, and then on top of that, more people know about us, they'll see our value even more. And of course, that comes to the pay rates. The pay rates might go up, but but aside from that, just being able to kind of like help build a solid foundation. It's important. It's really important. Like, I don't know TikTok that well, but hey, I'm learning it. I'm learning it. And it's funny that you had brought it up. I had to say something real quick on that. I did that video, right? Tell me why I go to this for this past event. Tell me why I go to the event, and they didn't let a lot of people know to wear or bring certain things. And they the coordinators were kind of scrambling around, because not only were some people still wore leggings. You weren't supposed to wear leggings, but some people still wore leggings. But there needed to be some people with long pants. There need to be some people with shorts. There need to be some people with heels. So bringing all that extra stuff, like they had to go across the street and send people different places to buy things last minute, because a lot of people didn't come prepared, or they didn't even know they needed to bring those items. So you could be the one that's like, hey, you need someone with some black heels. I have black heels in my car. If you don't mind me running to my car to go get it. Okay, cool, dope. All right, so we're going to change your position from this $20 an hour position to now you're making double that to $40 an hour because you had a pair of heels in your trunk. So like it's that preparation is key. But yeah, the TikTok, I'm learning it's fun. It's fun. It's addicting, but it's fun. But yeah, Clubhouse. You were mentioning Clubhouse. Sorry.
Are you good? Before we talk about Clubhouse, throw your YouTube channel, throw your plug out there for those who want to go ahead and subscribe to your channel and your Instagram. Go ahead and throw that in there real quick.
You're welcome. Follow me. I'm trying to keep everything cohesive. So it's Brey _promoting. That's BREYB_promoting. That's on Instagram. That's on TikTok, and then on YouTube, I actually put #PromoLife. So if you type in #PromoLife or even Brey B, I'll pop up. Go ahead and subscribe. I give tips and tricks and behind the scenes footage of brand ambassador life.
All right. So Clubhouse. What inspired you to do that? We talked about it a little bit last week, after I saw you posted in the group with you creating this forum for EXPs to voice their opinion in a way which visually they're not being seen, because a lot of EXPs would shy away, from talking candidly and outwardly about their experiences, negative or even positive, but more importantly, negative experiences, for fear of being blacklisted. So what inspired you to create that Clubhouse forum? And how did that first Clubhouse go last week? What was the topic again? And just give us a little bit of insight on that.
So when I first heard about Clubhouse, I'm like, okay, what is this? It's only for iPhone users. Hey, yay, I feel it's all exclusive. I know they're going to open it up. They're going to
Android.
They're going to open it up. They're going to open it up in due time. But as I started listening, I would tune in, I would put my interest, and I would listen to people talk about events. I would listen to people talk about finance, talk about branding. And I'm like, no one's really talking about our industry. If people were talking about events, they were talking about events on a larger, broader scale, but not necessarily EXPs or, brand ambassadors and what we go through with things that we face. So I was like, okay, had the bright idea. Let's start talking. Let me see if people are gonna join these groups and have these conversations. Because come to find out, on Clubhouse, you can't create a group or a club until you've hosted, I guess, a certain amount of meeting rooms. So I think after this upcoming one this Tuesday, I think I'll be able to create a group, and I want to create a group specifically for EXPs, brand ambassadors, promo models, all of us, so we can have weekly discussions on various topics. Now, one thing that I really, really liked about the Clubhouse platform is that it is drop-in audio. So you don't have to be seen. You don't even have to be heard. You can literally just listen in. And if you want to speak, you just raise your hand. You'll be brought up into the discussion, and you just mute or unmute your mic however you like to join in on the conversation. But yeah, you have a profile picture. You don't have to put your profile picture up. Yeah, you have a bio, but you don't have to put your real name. You don't have to put all that stuff. So now that could be a little dangerous because people could hide behind a fake profile. But essentially, you can easily kick people out. You can mute people. People don't, so you don't have to hear people say derogatory information, derogatory terms, or give misleading information. You can mute people. And then also, even though it's EXPs in this particular group or in this particular conversation, anyone can drop in. So anyone can drop in and hear what we're talking about. It could be CEOs, it could be other EXPs, it could be clients.
Agency owners.
Huh?
Agency owners too.
Yeah, because actually this past week, our first discussion was what was it like to work or not work during the pandemic. And actually, one of my favorite agency owners, she jumped in and she stayed the entire 2.5 hours, and she was able to give us her experience from the agency point of view, and she was asking some really good deep questions, like concerning her, for our industry. Like, hey, what is it like when you're out there sampling? Are you sampling? Are you not? Are you getting paid a certain rate? When events are canceled, are you still getting paid something? She has us thinking in a different way. And she's like, well, people should really take care of you. Like, she's one of those agency owners where you're like, oh my goodness, anything she has, I want to work with her. Shout out Cassie. I'm gonna shout you out, girl. Cassie Stillman, I love you. But she was just expressing her concerns and just giving her experience, and she genuinely wanted to know our experiences. And she connected with so many new brand ambassadors. So many brand ambassadors didn't even know about her agency. And now they're signing up to work with her when everything's come back together. So yeah, I started up this Clubhouse to, of course, open a discussion, so it's a safe space for EXPs and other individuals in other industries to listen in or contribute to the conversation. And I'm going to start a club soon. Feel free to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow night, we will be discussing industry pay rates, basically the past, present, and the future of industry pay rates. So I would love for you all to join us. It'll be 7 p.m. I'll post the link. So be on the lookout for that.
Yay! Exciting. And I can't wait. Make sure you send me the audio after so I can listen to what you guys talked about. Because I know that's going to be a hot topic. And I'm actually going to poll the group on that this week too.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So now with Clubhouse though, it lets you know, like, you can screen record, I guess, and hear the audio, but there are certain regulations and rules that if you post that audio without the moderator's approval, you basically get in trouble. I wouldn't record anything unless people wanted me to. I would ask everyone, and then even doing so, I thought about it this last discussion. I could record it, and then whenever the audio is posted, it doesn't have to be any visual with the posting, so you just hear voices. People might recognize each other, but you won't be able to put a face to anything, so it's still a safe space.
Gotcha. Okay. Team Apple, I hear y'all. All right. They need to get it together over there so us Android folks can be involved in the mix as well. All right.
Right.
But we got 13 more minutes before we wrap up. And I wanted to ask you, resumes.
Oof.
What advice do you have for EXPs who are looking to restructure or structure their resume if they're beginning in the industry or looking to evolve in the industry? What are some tips or things that you've done over the years to keep your resume cohesive, current, and highlight your experience and your expertise?
So now I'm one of those people that I change my resume every few months, every couple months sometimes. I would say number one is to have different versions of your resume. Whether you're an EXP or not, you should always have different versions of your resume to cater to different jobs. So say if you're applying to be a manager or market manager or team lead, you want to highlight all of your leadership roles on that resume. So that way, when you're applying for one of those positions, you can easily send it. It's already tailored. You don't have to spend more time doing so. If you are applying to be a brand ambassador or doing alcoholic demos or things like that, you should also have a tailored resume for that one as well. Me, I'm a little extra. I'm a little too extra. So I'm a little too extra, but it helps me stand out. So now my resume in particular, I have it organized according to event type. So say if I have beauty, I have tech, I'll have alcoholic, I'll have non-alcoholic, food. Like, I have it all organized. And you don't have to put every single brand that you've worked. You don't have to put all of them on there, but sometimes people do want to see what brands you've represented or what roles you took on. And even though even though you're an EXP and you're applying for more EXP positions, it's okay to have, I'm not going to say irrelevant. It's okay to have your previous positions before, like aside from experiential marketing roles,
Right.
because you still have a lot of experience taking on those roles in like customer service or organization. You want to highlight your strengths. But typically everyone's different. One could do their thing, but I have a photo of myself. So yeah, I'll send you a headshot of me, but you're going to find another headshot on my resume. So just in case they print that resume, they already have a name to a face. Everything's organized so they can pinpoint, whatever they want, whatever they're looking for, they can find it easily. I have my relevant certifications on there. I have an intro for myself. Make sure you have your personal information, like your name, your email. Sometimes some people want to add their phone numbers, but if you're not comfortable adding your personal cell phone number, get a Google Voice number. Google Voice numbers are free. They'll reach you because you never know who might get your resume. Try not to go over 2 pages. I have a pretty lengthy resume, but I keep it to 2 pages. That way, if it's printed, it can be front and back. But if you're at 3-4 pages, yeah, we got to do something about that.
Less is more.
Yes, less is actually more. One thing for sure. You don't need to list, in my opinion, you don't need to list every agency you've worked for. They don't even know who your competitors are. Their competitors. I wouldn't list the agencies. Actually, I don't list any agencies on my resume. I keep that confidential, but I will let you know what brands I've represented.
That's cool. That's a tip I never thought of, because on my resume, in my mind, I like to list the agencies to show, okay, she has worked with a Match MG or one of the top agencies in the industry. So she understands, how different agencies may do things and how to adapt to those agencies' practices or their expectations. So that's cool to hear on the other side that you don't list it, because I feel like sometimes other agencies want to know, okay, she's worked with some of the top agencies or the best agencies, so she's well-rounded in that respect. But that's a good way to look at it too.
Yeah, I can see that too. Well, maybe you can even put that as a section. But what I've seen, though, because I've done recruiting, and when I see these resumes, they'll put an agency, they'll put a brand, and they'll put an agency. Like, it's just sometimes it's a little all over the place. So if you want to mention the agencies, go for it. Do whatever floats your boat. It's just all about organization and how you organize.
And you mentioned too, because you're based in Orlando, you were just in Miami last week, this past weekend, executing an event. So talk more, and I've talked about this before in my book, with regards to being a traveling BA. What are some things to keep in mind with pay, with looking at mileage, with looking at hotels, with splitting rooms? Like, what are some things you keep in mind before you decide to accept an opportunity outside of your home market?
Oh, I got to come back with something. I'm not gonna work in Miami. Like, if it was a 3-hour shift, I'm sorry, I wouldn't take it, because it's not worth it for me. You got to put into account, okay, where are you gonna lay your head? How long are you gonna stay? How long you travel? The wear and tear you're putting on your car. Food is definitely more expensive down in Miami in comparison to Orlando. But you just have to weigh out the pros and cons. So I would say definitely consider what your losses are and what you're gaining, why you're going down there in the first place, or up there, wherever you're traveling to. Sometimes some people don't mind paying for flights to Las Vegas for an event. Other people, they're like, no, if the agency's not paying me, I'm not going. But I'm one of those people, I like the experience. So as long as whatever I'm working covers my expenses, and then I'm walking away with something, I'm all for it. Like my mom has an apartment in Miami. She's not there on the weekends. She's up here on the weekend. So why not just take? It was my first time doing it, but definitely I'm gonna do it more often. But figure out who you can stay with. Who you can't stay with. You just weigh out the pros and the cons if you're gonna travel. and put it on your resume. Put it on your resume. If you have a website, let people know, hey, I'm willing to travel. You don't have to put all the details like, oh, it has to be this much, this and this and that. Let them reach out to you like, hey, I see that you're willing to travel on your resume. What would it cost us to get you here? And then you get your rates.
The art of negotiation. And if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. So like you said, you got to make sure that the mileage, the wear and tear on your vehicle, that flight, that hotel, staying with someone, it's going to all add up to you on the winning end and not the losing end before you leave.
I met some nice brand ambassadors down in Miami, and even one of which, a young lady, she's been in this industry, I think about 4 or 5 years, but there's so much information. I was having a conversation with her that she didn't know about. One of which being resumes or typical pay rates or different types of roles you can take on. She was predominantly a Spanish speaker, but I said, don't let that stop you. You can do whatever you want. You're an actress. You can make money off of being an actress, whatever you want. You just got to put yourself out there. So she and I connected. I connected with a photographer that's down there. I connected with a lot of different people that's in my phone now. And hey, whether it's business, whether it's friendship, made a new connection. You don't know where it's going to lead you next.
All right. So we got a question from Sam. I'm going to let you tackle it first, and I'm going to come in with my 2 cents after. Sam wants to know, how do y'all introduce a conversation to negotiate? And I'm thinking he's referring to with an agency or even a client. If you have the opportunity to work directly with the client, how do you introduce that conversation to negotiate?
Well, it depends. It depends on what we're negotiating. So if we're negotiating rates, okay, and this actually happened to me recently. So I joined back into a program and the rate was lower, and I was like, okay, hey, considering, try not to come off arrogant either, but considering my expertise and the location of these events and the job duties, what you can ask, are you willing to negotiate? Or you can just put it out there, hey, I would be happy to take on this job. However, my current rate is such and such and such and such, because closed mouths can't get fed. It's all about how you your wording, how you communicate what you're trying to convey. But if you're going to ask for more money, you got to show why you're asking for money. And you got to come ready to deliver and then some, to let them be like, okay, I'm happy I raised the rate and got them on board. Next time you might be able to raise it again. But it's really about, okay, you're not just asking for money just to ask for it. Like, what are you bringing to the table? You want to ask for food, but are you contributing? Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I want to add to that, and I have had a couple experiences as a tour manager, even a market manager, where we've had to go in after signing up initially for a program and to work as a manager. We have clients, agencies, they lay out roles and expectations initially in a contract, and you sign a contract expecting that those roles and responsibilities are going to be handled by you. But we all know, for all of our EXPs, especially on the tour side, you sign a contract with one, and even on the management side, you sign a contract with one set of roles and responsibilities. And then when you get on site, you got a laundry list of additional roles and responsibilities that you didn't sign up for, or that you didn't initially know came with the opportunity that you were presented. So at that point, you've already sowed a seed, right? Because we all know when we're executing a program, we're committed to something. Backing out and leaving a program is not advised, because it leaves a bad impression on you as an EXP, and then chances are you may not be given another opportunity with that agency. So I couldn't agree more with Bree said. You got to sell yourself first. You got to sell your experiences in that resume when you're having that initial interview for that position. You got to be upfront and honest, and you got to let that account manager and that client know, hey, this is what I bring to the table. This is the amount of years I've been doing this. Outside of doing this, I have this relevant experience in customer service or dealing with individuals and clients with this company that will be an asset to this tour or this program. And this is how I'm going to be able to exceed all expectations that you have for me as a manager or a tour manager. Now, I have to be honest, if things change once I get on site or I start executing this program, then we may have to talk, negotiate different rates and different expectations. But I'm all on board for what you guys have outlined in this contract. Now, like I said before, once I got on site, and I saw that it was a laundry list of additional roles and expectations, then you come back in a professional way. I always say CYA, put everything in writing.
Yep, everything.
You write an email and you say, hey, thank you guys for this opportunity. I'm seeing that everything's going to be well. These are the things I'm going to be able to do to make this program successful. However, I see there are a couple, red flags or a couple issues that I may have moving forward, with regards to the amount of pay that I'm giving for the roles and responsibilities that have been outlined and have been given to me. I see the client is more hands-on. So that's going to require more time for me with site checks. Me doing event recaps I'm going to have to be more detailed. Now that we have additional BAs that have for a program, I'm going to have to train them more or spend more time outside of my allotted time as the manager, working. So with that being said, I'm asking that you guys, compensate me more at this amount based on the additional roles and responsibilities that have been given to me that were not given, or I don't want to say told, that were not conveyed to me when I initially signed this contract. So can we go back to the table and work additional numbers? I still want to be a part of this program. I'm still going to be able to successfully execute this and meet all the goals and exceed the expectations that the client has. But at the same time, I want to make sure that it's a fair compensation for me and that I'm able to thrive in this position and that I'm able to excel and be paid my worth, because I speak that all the time. You got to know your worth in this industry. And there's nothing wrong. T and I have done it numerous times on tours. We've come back to the table and renegotiated, during a tour for more money, because we see, and oftentimes they see that, hey, you driving more, your setup time is going to be longer, your recap time is going to be longer, and they're willing to come to the table and give you more money. And oftentimes they budget with regards to what they're going to pay EXPs or hotel budgets. They budget a little bit more wiggle room for these instances. So definitely, it's nothing wrong with asking, know your worth EXPs, but also, like Bree said, if you're going to ask for more money, you got to be willing to do the job that you're requesting, to go above and beyond, to make sure that you're able to what am I trying to say? That the money that you're asking for, that you're able to show why that client, that agency, that brand needs to pay you more, and make sure that you speak volumes and you're able to set expectations and say, hey, you know what? Next time when I have a tour or program, I know I got to come to Jay with $1,500 or $1,700 a week. I know I got to make sure that she has A, B, C, and D. And I ask the client these questions. And you can coach an account manager who may be new. Hey, make sure you ask the client, to make sure they have all the things that we need to successfully execute the on-site setup and breakdown. Have they made the Home Depot run? Do they have the ratchet straps? Do they have everything that's going to save me time and energy from having to do it, so you don't have to pay me more? Those are things that account managers, that a lot of agencies don't really think about. And I'm speaking for those who may be tour manager and market managers, they don't really think about, because there's a lot of work behind the scenes from a logistical standpoint that we as EXPs go through to ensure that a program is successfully executed. And oftentimes EXPs, even at a brand ambassador level, get the short end of the stick when it comes to compensation. The agencies look out for themselves and make sure that they get the pay, but the most important people are the ones out there engaging with the consumer on a day-to-day basis, being in consumer facing and also client facing, cleaning up loose ends, making sure that a event from a day-to-day perspective is successfully executed. And EXPs, the compensation, it has to go up, especially on the manager side, on the lead side, because we take on a lot of that work, and the compensation oftentimes is not indicative of the work that's being required. So I got long-winded there.
No, that's true, man. It's all true. That's all truth, man. That's all true.
Yeah. So Sam, I hope that answers your question. Put everything in writing. Have examples, have instances where you've had to go above and beyond that role that was given to you initially, and why that compensation needs to be more.
There's always room for negotiation. A lot of people don't realize that. You know, it's just like listen, going on Shark Tank. You see how people go on Shark Tank and they might have these high valuations, but they're like, hey, look, we're willing to negotiate. What will work for you so that you're happy and I'm happy? We can make this work, this partnership. Agencies or even working directly with clients, it's still a partnership. Okay, you're gonna win. I want you to see it. You're gonna see your return on investment. So I see that return. I need that investment. I don't know what it is, what it sounds.
Say it again. Say it again. Just repeat. Repeat.
You gotta let. I would say it's a partnership. It's always a partnership, whether it's the client or it's with the agency. And with that partnership, you have to let them know, like, hey, you're gonna see a return on that investment, but first, I need that investment, baby. I need it.
Sometimes I know a lot of EXPs. If you haven't been in the industry long enough, I'm saying at least consistently 2-3 years. Coming out the gate after working your first event as a BA, coming back out and asking for money, it's not advised. You know, you gotta earn your way, or how we say, you gotta earn your stripes, you know, as it is in the industry. But I say all that to say, you know, it takes time, it takes development, it takes going through some things, it takes taking a rate for less than and seeing, man, you know what, like you said in your story, I should have asked for more, or I see, man, I should have been getting paid more. It takes those instances to appreciate when you're able to go in and negotiate for higher rates and know that you are more than capable and able to successfully perform those duties.
Know your worth. Closed mouths don't get fed. I'm telling you, I know a lot of people who's been in this industry even longer than I have been, and they take on roles with pay rates that are less than people who are just coming in. There's levels to this. If you're not willing to negotiate and show your worth, like then you're gonna end up with the short end of the stick. And it's okay to keep your numbers. Like if you know you sell at this rate per bottle or whatever, like keep track of that. Show your proof. Proof. Oh my God, I'm all jumping up. Show your proof. Show your proof. Show the numbers. The truth is in the numbers, and your ability to perform and exceed whatever expectations are already set for you. Don't be afraid to go that extra mile.
So we got another question. All these questions popping up now. We got a question from Marie Soto. She wants to know, I was a manager for 5 years. I'm looking into becoming a brand ambassador part-time. Any recommendations for a newbie?
As in recommendations as like what agencies to work for,
or just beginning a career. She's looking to become a brand ambassador part-time. Any recommendations for her?
Oh yeah, join every single group. No, depending on where you're at, join. It doesn't matter how far the cities are, but join every group on Facebook, because that's been my most success. And sign up for these agencies. Start connecting with other people within the industry and make friends. Even go through certain hashtags, make friends. I've added so many complete strangers on the other side of the nation, and they're able to still let me know about different jobs, or they let me know tips and tricks. But I would say, as a newbie, first get that resume together to highlight all of your customer service experience, highlight all of your event industry experience, and get those headshots. You want to come across as professional, but still have some type of personality. Don't get rid of all your personality. Let it shine through. And just don't be afraid to reach out and talk to people. You can hit me up. You can hit Jay up. We're not gonna Heisman you. Right? Remember that dance? But make friends. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Do your research, and just regardless if people are hiring you quickly or not, just don't stop. If you know it's something that you want to do, even if it's just part-time, don't stop. Just keep going.
Mhm. We got EXP's commenting as well. Joaquina, hey Joaquina, she dropping some gems. She's telling you, Marie, to sign up with other agencies out there and have good pictures when submitting. That is key as well. I know you coming from the restaurant industry, so you have customer service experience already. You've dealt with good customers, bad customers, and you've had to rectify situations on the spot. So that right there qualifies you to be an awesome brand ambassador. So definitely highlight your experience in the restaurant industry. Highlight the different tasks, the different roles and responsibilities that you play as a hostess, as a waiter, even as a manager. Those are all skills that can be used as assets in the experiential marketing industry. And like Bree said, when you create that resume, make sure that it speaks to you. But more importantly, when you get the opportunity to have a not in person, but a Zoom interview or even over the phone interview, make sure that your personality shines through. Make sure you're coming off as very engaging, very welcoming, very inviting. I like to smile when I'm talking to people on the phone because I feel like people can actually feel that energy. So make sure that you're talking about that and you're giving real examples as to how you were able to rectify situations or how you were able to, pinpoint and troubleshoot things from a manager or even a waiter's perspective. That's going to be essential, especially when you're starting off as a brand ambassador. And like she said, keep going. You're going to get 1,000 no's before you get that one yes. So don't be afraid of rejection. Don't give up after the first agency, didn't afford you opportunity. Keep applying. I would spend hours every night just applying, putting my what do we call it? Creating our profile, with different agencies, and continuing to register and look at those notifications that those agencies may put out for opportunities. And you got to start somewhere. I'm not saying that you should take lower, pay. That's on you. I would never tell people to take what amount they should take from a compensation standpoint. You got to do what works best for you in your situation and your finances. But I will say, you got to start somewhere. And I had to sometimes take lower opportunities to get to the bigger opportunity. That's just the nature of this industry. But I say all that to say, use the skills that you have now as assets and make sure that you create that resume that speaks to the things that agencies want to see from brand ambassadors. Customer service skills, engaging with people, and being able, part of being a BA sometimes is sales. So can you talk to a consumer and convey information in your own unique way, which ultimately results in a sale? Those are some things too. So,
and get creative too. I said get creative too, because I remember I interviewed, who was I interviewing for? I interviewed, I think it was for a job. It wasn't like EXP. I interviewed to be like a spa associate. And they asked me, they said, they put a pen on the table and said, how would you sell me this pen? When I told you I sold the heebie-jeebies out of that pen, and even if it's not all truth, like it's just a regular old pen, it's what you make it. Similar to this industry, similar to any job, any application, everything is what you make it.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap up soon, guys. If you guys have any more questions for myself or Bree, go ahead and drop the questions now. More people are starting to tune in.
They're like, oh, wow.
So definitely, if you guys have any more questions, but I want to ask Bree, where do you see the future of our industry in the next couple of years?
Oh, we can be popping. We're gonna be popping because I know more people are gonna join, the train and show other people, hopefully behind the scenes. It doesn't have to be a fancy video or just talk about it, post about it. Take photos at these events. If you take photos at these events, you can post them. You're like, what are you doing? You have so much fun with what you do. I see people say,
Right, what you said, it kind of got muffled. Say it again.
I don't know what's going on. I see our industry growing. I see us popping in the next few years. Especially since it's been such a long time that major events haven't been taking place. So just remember, it's like a buildup of, like, in my opinion, I see it like a water hose of pressure. Like the water hose is on, the pressure just building up. Once everything opens back up, it's gonna go crazy. So still work on your professional development And just be on the lookout. Stay in contact with these agencies because I know it's coming. Those marketing dollars got to be spent. I do see us having, in addition to online events and in-person events, I do see hybrid events happening more. Once everything's figured out as to how to better execute online events with that in-person feel, I think there's going to be a lot of virtual brand ambassadors. You don't have to leave your home, but you might end up being an avatar, and that personality has to get turned up 10 times more to show yourself online, But I believe there's going to be much more opportunities for our industry in the near future.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's the time EXPs that you got to pivot. You got to think outside of just being an EXP and create different multiple streams of income. But more importantly, if you plan to stay in this industry, digital is coming. It's not going nowhere. A lot of these brands are evolving and finding ways. They've implemented ways. We see digital currency coming.
Yeah.
So with digital currency coming and money moving digitally, that a lot of programs, a lot of events, a lot of brands are going to be looking to the digital space to create that same consumer experience. And a lot of agencies are going to have opportunities and dibs to be able to create authentic programs that EXPs and brand ambassadors can definitely be a part of, even in a management role, so being able from a digital perspective to still convey information, to still have that bubbly personality, like Bree was saying, is going to be crucial. Any certifications that you could take in digital marketing to help agencies from an account side to be an asset. So you working on the other side of the table now and not just as an EXP, will be an asset to you and to not only agencies, but brands. So you got to start thinking from that perspective. How can I take my skills from an EXP, a brand ambassador, and convert them and move to the digital space, because that's what we're moving to. But consumer events will eventually come back, and it's going to be different. It's going to be completely different than what we had 2-3 years ago before this pandemic. So being able to adjust during those times and being able to separate yourself from all the other EXPs, because I do feel like with the pandemic and everything that's happened, the pool of great EXPs has gotten smaller. So with that being said, you got to be able to sell your skills and sell your qualifications much better. And you got to use digital, you got to use video, any means that sells you as an asset, but still professionally, because you can be everything on social media, but when you get to an event site, if you don't live up to what that hype is during the interview, during your resume, it is null and void.
Yeah.
So you got to continue, to be authentically you, but also be professional in the way that you present yourself. I can't my 3 P's: professionalism, presentation, and personable. You got to be those 3 things at all times, whether you work in this industry or not. But not essentially, but definitely, if you continue to work in this industry and you want to, like Bree was saying, continue to make this your career. She has great content. I have great content. You can learn from either one of us. She has Clubhouse that she's popping off with tomorrow. You're going to be able to go in there and ask questions, talk to people, talk to vetted people, not just people that say they've been doing this for a couple months, people with real relevant experience who going to give you the game and be honest with you.
Yes.
I'm telling you.
Yes.
Don't fall for the okie doke. Don't fall for the people that's telling you what to do, but been fired from every program and has never successfully executed a tour. No, that's not the people you want to listen to.
JB offering all the jewels for free. Like, I'm surprised you haven't started a Patreon. Once you start it, baby girl, I am subscribing. I will be there. I don't have a Patreon yet either. And all the people that are vets too, like, I got to speak to the vets because I know the vets are like, not feeling the best because they're like, geez, the pay rates are down. This is what I've been doing for a living. Like you said, we got to get creative. We have to find different avenues, because there's always going to be new people coming into our industry. There's always going to be people who don't have the answers that you have. And just remember, even if you're creating digital content, like maybe you might write some ebooks. Maybe if you're not good with video, There's another way of doing it. You can be a content creator. There's just so many different avenues out there. So just try to step outside of the box, and experiment. It's okay to fall on your face, a few times. Like I've made all these videos on YouTube. I don't have a bunch of subscribers, but my focus is not just to have a bunch of subscribers. It's really the views and people receiving something from the content that I'm creating. It's once you realize that it's bigger than you, that your passion in a sense is bigger than you, all else will fall into place.
Exactly. The money will follow. Follow your passion. Do what you love, and the money will follow.
Hold on, plug my computer in. And I'm right down to 3%.
Oh, you good. So we about to wrap up though. I'm not gonna hold you much longer. I always like to wrap up these conversations, and I want to just first thank you for your time today. Thank you for coming on with me and dropping these gems, and for being transparent and honest in your story, in your journey in this industry. I appreciate you so much, and I thank you. EXPs, make sure you join that Clubhouse tomorrow. We're gonna drop the link in this video. Bree, make sure you drop the official announcement for me to approve in the group as well, and get other EXPs on board into that platform, because it's gonna be awesome. And my team Android people, we coming. Once they open it up, we gonna wait. But if we might have to start a Zoom, I don't know. We'll see. But I felt that to say, outside of just being an EXP, we are people first. So my last question to you is, before we wrap up, is what inspires you from a personal perspective? What are your hobbies? What are the things that you do on a day-to-day basis to stay motivated, to stay grounded?
Man, that's a good question, because I feel like I got so many. Well, as most of recently, my son, because I want him to live a life where he can just stay true to himself and just be happy. And I want to I want to lead by example. I wouldn't want anyone else to just do something that makes them miserable day to day. I want them to be genuinely happy with his life and putting in work and realizing that the seeds that you plant, what I'm saying, it will grow into something one day, and you'll be able to eat that fruit off that tree. So he's definitely one of my inspirations. My significant other, when it comes to entrepreneurship, he is just like boss with organization. He has his brain is just awesome. So he inspires me to just never give up, because I get to see all the challenges that he goes through day to day. And it's like, okay, if somebody else could do that, I could do it too. You know what I'm saying? And all of you all, honestly, including you, Jay, like all of you all just not giving up. It's been extremely tough since the pandemic hit, but people are still putting themselves out there. They're still posting, they're still talking, they're still communicating and building relationships. But all in all, they're not giving up. So by other people not giving up and, going through the struggle, it lets me know that it lets me know that I don't have to give up, and that it's okay. It's perfectly normal.
Well, I'm gonna end it on that note. Thank you so much. I have nothing else to say.
Thank you for having me.
I love for my speakers to end on their note and end on positivity. Marie said, "Thank you, ladies." Joaquina said, "Thank you, ladies." Everybody was very appreciative. So thank you again, Bree, for joining me today. And I wish you continued success. I'm here. I'm your cheerleader. I'm rooting for you, and I'm proud of you. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Take care.